Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. While we still laugh until we get canceled, which could be any day now, because one thing I've never been able to do is keep my mouth shut with my opinions. So, and today's been a day full of opinions. So I may be in trouble. I may, try to click on the site later and find out it's not there anymore. That site is CriticalBlast.com, by the way. In case you've never clicked on it, or you just always come to the YouTube channel, we have more. We offer more. There's more to this than this. So check it out sometime. Tonight we have with us Larry from NYOBI and Max from I'm going to say it wrong again. Mary Machine Gun. I keep trying to say Machine Gun.
You got it right. You had to think about it for a second, but you got it right.
There's nothing wrong with stopping talking.
Nope. I'll tell you this. You talked about getting canceled, right? Well, if it's not going to happen before, you got me and Max on, so it's certainly going to happen.
I'm putting that final nail in the coffin right now.
We're driving it home.
Oh, yeah.
If Hart didn't get you canceled,
product placement.
If Hart didn't get you canceled, then you're fine.
We have Tank Ferret in the chat. He says, "Hail RJ, hail Max, hail LL Cool P." Tank Ferret, of course. Scalpel Zero is his property. Great artist, man. It's been a while since we've talked to Tank. Actually, he was on the show last month. I think we had him on. But Tank, we need to hear more from you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bring your comic over here sometime, man.
Bring him to me.
Yes, I'm like looking at his name in the chat and going like this, like the face in the image will look directly at him if I do that.
You can see
people are weird.
So, man, how's your day going, RJ?
It was. I'm allergic to stupidity.
Right.
I break out when I see it in large quantities, and this thought bubble thing that happened today with their convention just set me off, and I was like, you know what? Rather than get blocked on Twitter, because I would be going down that road many times, I have my own platform and I can't block myself on it. So I
don't know about the story, but I hear you. That sometimes you got to choose and pick the battles and the hills you want to die on. You know what I mean?
Well, let me do something that I never ever do. You know those channels?
I knew we were getting canceled.
Yeah, you know those channels where they kind of pull up Bounding into Comics and then they just read it.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Yeah. I hate those things. Sometimes you can pull up Critical Blast and read it from there.
Oh man, we should start doing that. That's a good idea. I always like good sources. I got to put
more content up to do that.
We have
thought bubble punctured after needled by guest.
Oh, I was going to say we have good stuff. Comics Gator in the chat. He says, "Hail chat, hail panel, hashtag crack pack, every day BDW."
That sounds like Bogan talk.
Bogan talk. Thought bubble punctured after needled by guests. After needled, is that what it is? Needled. Yeah.
Stabbed.
So
he's got the jab.
Yeah. So this is an opinion piece with some news interjected into it because I'm allowed to. I own the site. It's a frustrating thing to plan to attend an event only to find out the sole reason for your trip won't be there. The main act of the concert cancels for personal reasons. The theme park is closed for repairs. You'll have to turn around and go home, folks. The kitchen is out of filet mignon. This might mirror the feelings of fans of Frank Miller, who look forward to seeing him at the Thought Bubble Comics Art Festival in Harrogate, England. And while the trouble had been brewing for a number of weeks, the public first became aware of it when Zainab Akhtar, publisher of Shortbox, released this statement on Twitter on July 27th. And this is what got things going. I am sorry to inform you that Shortbox, you all heard of Shortbox, right?
Yeah, vaguely though.
Oh, come on now. That was when you were supposed to say no. I asked you if you know Howard Chaykin, you're supposed to say yes. I asked you if you know Shortbox, you're supposed to say never heard of him. But never mind. Don't play along. It's okay.
Sorry, man.
I am sorry to inform you
I'll
that
just
Shortbox...
mute myself and go to my corner now.
No, don't do that. I am sorry to inform you that Shortbox and I will no longer be attending Thought Bubble Festival this November. I was invited as a guest in 2020, which rolled over to this year. I have been excited to attend, represent my authors, and share our books with readers after almost 2 years of no conventions. However, as a proud Muslim woman, I cannot in good conscience attend a festival that deems it appropriate to invite and platform Frank Miller.
Why?
A person who is responsible for the propagation of abhorrent anti-Muslim hate, particularly via his work. Anti-Muslim bigotry is a repugnant and condemnable. I got to fix that. I said repugnant. I don't know what I was thinking there. Republican, I guess. Is repugnant and condemnable, yet has become so deeply rooted, so widely accepted in society that it is not even given a cursory consideration, as evidenced once again in this situation. I cannot comprehend how time and time again, festivals and communities within comics espouse values regarding inclusivity, diversity, comics being for everyone, zero tolerance on hate, but all that lip service evaporates when they are asked to enact those same values.
When has Frank Miller done these crimes that she's accusing him of?
10 years ago. 10 years ago, he put out a book called Holy Terror that featured a Muslim terrorist and you wouldn't imagine an over-the-top vigilante taking down a Muslim terrorist in a comic book written by Frank Miller.
No, not at all.
And especially 10 years ago when he was like doing that, DK3 Master Race thing. And he everyone knows that Frank was like off it then. He was like, alcoholic, bad place. And he since apologized for the book. He said, I would not do it today. I'm not that same person anymore. He had feelings.
I mean, that was a sign of the times. We want to go back to like 9/11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look.
I think we could all get canceled if we had our 9/11 writings brought back up.
It's politics. It's another sort of political stance. It's I mean, if Frank Miller isn't safe, right? It's only a matter of time before no one is safe. There just won't be anyone left to invite because there'll be an apparent horrific crime with everybody and somewhere down the line.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now this convention, had a lot of people invited to it. For being in England, it's a fairly big deal, as I understand it. I mean, and I'll talk about them later, but they have Gail Simone coming, they have Scott Snyder coming, they have James Tynion IV coming, and none of those people said anything about all this, but others did. Got something in my mouth. I don't know what it was. Probably a gnat. There's one flying around here. It's killing me. That, as the saying goes, is a lot to unpack, seeing that it includes all the right language about diversity and inclusivity, while at the same time arguing for a disinvitation and excommunication. But it was the toss that got the snowball rolling downhill, and soon Akhtar, whose Shortbox publication would no longer exist in the same capacity by the time of the convention, because she's moving away from their current model of packaging boxes of titles for reasons of international shipping costs.
Was she could solve if she would just get with RJ.
I know.
Critical Blast.
Helpfully, I put a link in there to our logistics. Reach out to me, Akhtar. Ms. Akhtar, we'd be happy to help you. Was joined by a number of creators who threatened to pull out of the festival should Miller continue to be hosted. For instance, Jess Taylor, who has done work for DC, said, I will be withdrawing from Thought Bubble, and I urge other creators to do the same until Frank Miller is pulled from the roster. We saw this same playbook play out for against Dynamite when they were doing that Cecil book, when they were going to distribute that, remember?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I remember that. And let's add on, the same thing was done to me.
Yeah, absolutely. You had people that wouldn't go to the same convention as you.
Correct. And if I was invited, they were going to ask for refunds for their tables. And I was told that the needs of the many outweighed the needs of the one, you know? So in other words, it was okay to piss me off and tell me that I can't go, then piss off, you know, a dozen people who said they won't go if I'm invited.
$4,000 to $400.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, we saw when first of all it was Twitter arguing against Dynamite for doing it. Then it was the low level creators, and then it was the Gail Simones coming out. So I think Thought Bubble tried to get ahead of the next level of the attack because they could see it coming. Jeremy Whitley, who's also done stuff, says, I can't believe this is still going on. At the last ALA, which is the American Library Association, they went out of their way to feature Frank Miller as a creator and to put him on panels meant to introduce librarians to graphic novels. This can't continue.
Yeah, they're out to cancel Frank Miller. I mean, it's
exactly.
Pretty simple.
He's next on the chopping block.
Yeah, next in line.
Absolutely is. Also invited to the festival are Gail Simone, Scott Snyder, and James Tinian, which I just told you guys, none of whom addressed the subject on their social media accounts, perhaps due to their paychecks having benefited so much from the foundational work Miller laid down for the modern version of Batman, which they all kind of write.
Yeah, they probably all know him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or perhaps they were going to, and Thought Bubble responded too quickly, although never quickly enough, according to many other posts about the matter, with their statement of disinvitation, which reads as such. Over the last 14 years, Thought Bubble has grown into an amazing community of comic creators and fans who we love, trust, and respect. We have let you down, and in our commitment to maintaining Thought Bubble as a safe space for all, does anybody else cringe when they hear the word safe space?
That just makes me, every time I hear it.
Of the New Warriors.
Yeah. I don't mind it when I see it on the big yellow, diamond sign on a building, safe space. I'm like, oh yeah, kids, go here if you're lost. But we are talking about children. They're just very old.
Yeah.
As a safe space for all, we have fallen short. We exist to share the art form and its worlds with people. If any individual group or community feels uncomfortable or excluded from our show, then we have failed. Thought Bubble, you just excluded Frank Miller, so by your own admission, you failed again. But I digress. We know that many of you are disappointed in us and have been expecting a comment on this before now. We are sorry for our silence while we have been trying to fix this. Frank Miller will not be attending Thought Bubble.
Shocking.
Shocking. We are deeply sorry, particularly to those who we should be standing up for the most. We hope that you can give us the opportunity to make this better, and we thank you for holding us accountable. Hey, Thought Bubble, Frank Miller wrote Holy Terror 10 years ago and has already addressed the matter. So if history is a judge, your opportunity to make things better will take at least 10 years before you are forgiven by your accusers. Hold tight, because it could be longer than that, because they still haven't forgiven Frank Miller.
They've been going after Frank Miller for a while, though.
Long time. Oh, yeah. Well, at least 10 years. We know there is still more to discuss, and we will be replying to those who have been in touch. We hope you can bear with us while we do this. We won't let you down again. And well, that's assuming they're given the chance, because, and here's where I get a little opinionated, like I haven't been already. Now let's be absolutely clear on this. Zainab Akhtar did not want to go to Thought Bubble because Frank Miller wrote a book 10 years ago she did not like. Furthermore, she's still not attending. So Thought Bubble gained nothing by disinviting Miller in a Pyrrhic symbolic gesture. And nobody seems to be forgiving Thought Bubble anytime soon. The same people who harangued the convention for inviting Miller are also taking the pitchforks to them for publicly disinviting him, claiming the action further endangers Akhtar, presumably from angry tweets or another Frank Miller comic. Apologies are always seen as an admission of guilt, and once guilty, it's just as Twitter user Darth Merengue states below. Absolutely insane that it's taken the actions of Shortbox and supportive comics creators over the past day for Thought Bubble to finally do the right thing regarding Frank Miller. Truly a permanent black mark on their record.
Yeah, I'm banned for life. Look, this fucking bullshit's got to stop. Like, this absolutely has to stop. I mean, there seems to be no end to it. There seems to be no forgiveness. There seems to be no path of redemption. Even if you apologize, like you said, it's taken as an admission of guilt, and then they drive the nail in deeper.
Apologizing is the worst thing you can do.
All because he wrote a comic book 10 years ago about, and it's like, he showed all Muslims as terrorists. I'm like, there were a couple of terrorists and they were all Muslim. That's not the same thing.
I was deployed to Iraq for 3 years, and every single terrorist I killed was a Muslim.
Yeah, you know what? Militarily speaking, the Nazis were better because they were polite enough to wear uniforms, so you knew.
Yeah, they could actually. That was. We always got that. It was like, why do we have to wear uniforms? They don't get to wear uniforms.
Yeah.
Why can't we just be out here in our comfort clothes?
There's no uniform, no flag, no anything. It's just chaos, which is the whole point of it.
Yeah.
It's okay, man. I mean, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it's got to stop. I mean, at some point, the line has to be drawn and be just like, yeah, we can't treat ourselves like this anymore because we're going to swallow ourselves whole, like.
And my buddy Will just got banned from Facebook again today.
Hey, so Will.
I don't know what you did, sir, but I'm sure you'll
look. It doesn't take much anymore. It really doesn't. No. It just takes one person to sort of report you for something again that you might say that they don't like, deem it offensive, and Facebook takes their word for it, and then you have to go and appeal. I've had to appeal after having a post or stuff removed. I wasn't able to post for 5 days. I'm like, no, screw that. You know what I mean? Like,
I've had
videos taken down that I thought.
I got shut down off Facebook for like 3-day bans for stuff I posted 7 years ago. So I'm like, really?
There is no statute of limitations. If you said, if you said a bad word in 3rd grade and somebody remembers it or it's on videotape, you're done. You're toast if that ever comes out.
Well, I mean, this is the thing I like about being canceled is because once you're canceled, then it's over. You know what I mean? Like, I've already been canceled, and it was like I got let loose off the leash, and it was like, great. I'm already been canceled. I already know, I can't go to the local con around here. I'm not invited to the events around here, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I no longer have to walk on eggshells. You know what I mean? And try not to worry about who might take slight to something stupid I say. I could just be me now. And while it hinders me in some regards, it absolutely has opened doors in others,
Well, you're just stopped from that one convention, though, right? I mean,
well, no, I mean, there's a couple others that,
I'm sure they took
the same stance. Yeah. I mean, well, we live in a small community in Canada. Everything, in my area is a few hours drive from each other. So they all know each other, right? So, I mean, hell, I got banned from a convention that I helped start. You can imagine how that one works,
You and Gary Gygax Jr.
Yeah, well, listen, there was a show called Geek Fest. I was on the organizing committee for Geek Fest 1. Then things went down. And then a couple of months later, I was going to go to Geek Fest 2, which, I wasn't part of the organizing committee for that. I had dropped out to work on NYOBI. And they told me no.
But I do expect that you're going to be showing up at conventions anyway soon.
Because
things are better for you.
Well, they are better for me, but at the same time, kind of like the Frank Miller situation. I mean, how far will they hold on? How long do people hold on to these grudges for? I guess
Well,
it's LP. You canceled him 3 years ago. He's still got 3 years until he can come back.
What's my sentence? You know what I mean?
Eternity.
All because I defended Vic Mignogna at a fucking convention.
they in their minds they are God minus the mercy. There is no forgiveness.
No, I know.
sins
It's
committed.
just so stupid. And, I hope eventually that the world sort of balances and evens itself out and things can just sort of revert back to normal. But I don't know if that's in the cards anytime soon,
After the Civil War, it'll be fine.
Right. Man, you got a lot of people in your chat. You
We
have
do.
Mike Walters who says, "Hey, RJ, thanks for dropping in last night. Hope to see you again soon."
Yeah, Mike's got the Mike Stand show that he does every night, and he's delving into he does a lot of the niche culture stuff, and then every Friday so like if you asked me for a good place to start reading comics was, some people would say, go start with this graphic novel and then go through these people. Mike just went back to 1937 and said, okay, I'm starting at the beginning, and has been moving forward every Friday night with Golden Age stuff. He's just about to get into 1938, which means Action Comics #1 is finally going to be popping up, and things will get action-y on the channel. So it's pretty cool. So it's definitely a history lesson in real time.
Max has got a Kickstarter going on.
I do.
You have it. Wait, you have a Kickstarter?
I do have.
Is whoa. Now that's interesting. I don't want to turn this into a whole completely different conversation, but fuck, how do I not do this? The debate about Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Have you, obviously, RJ, you're ears to the ground. You know all about this, right?
Yes, I do.
Max, do you?
Yeah.
No, I mean, what's been said the last couple of days by Malin and stuff like that.
Oh,
I was in Malin's chat stream as he was going on about that.
I watched the show the other day, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
Well, to John Malin, guys like me and you would be enemies of the state.
Enemies of the state because we use Kickstarter?
Correct.
Wow. That's pretty bad. Canceled and an enemy of the state.
Yeah.
It's
so for John Malin CG, right? It's CG only, which means Indiegogo only.
See, that's just silly to throw all your eggs in one basket.
I think it's stupid as fuck, Listen, money is green no matter where you get it from. You know what I mean?
I mean, the first time we did a Mary Machine Gun thing, we did an Indiegogo first, and then we did a Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
This time we're going to do a Kickstarter, and then we'll do an Indiegogo.
And out of the two, which one did better for you?
The Kickstarter did.
Absolutely, it did. Same with me. What's this now?
This is, again, me playing with PowerPoint.
Okay.
This is just, this is the feelings that I was getting from that stream. They rejected my comic. They rejected my comic. They rejected my comic book. My comic's on Kickstarter. We reject you.
You know what? That's so fucking true, man.
Yep.
You should fucking send that to me. That is so true. Look. I run on both as well, right? But I'm not a Comicsgate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I certainly know people in Comicsgate. I'm friends with some of them. Yeah, I mean, I John Malin's entitled to run his show his way. That's fine, And if he wants Indiegogos only and CG only, that's great. But, I'm here to tell you that there are still other great books out there that don't necessarily follow the far left progressive view that you can still buy that doesn't necessarily wave a flag,
Yeah. Well, there was so much hypocrisy in that stream. I'm just going to call it what it was. And I get it that, these guys were, OG CG, and Kickstarter kicked them off. And they kicked them off because somebody called and complained and said, you're white supremacist, whatever.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing wrong with
I remember that. I remember when all that went down.
So they're hurt about that. My point of attack on that is that you keep coming back until they let you in, and then you change from the inside. Their idea is that we'll just be IGG only, and then when IGG fails, you're SOL.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Why put everything in one basket? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So when Clint Stoker just started talking about should I go to Kickstarter with to try to reach a more audience, that's what started this whole conversation off. And part of the hypocrisy that I saw in it was not just that they were like not going to support on the channel. If you say your Kickstarter, which eventually devolved into I might support you, but you're going to have to tell me what your plan is. I'm like, my plan is to put the book on Kickstarter.
I
gonna-
remember when IndieCron first started, right? And you go
Yeah.
to IndieCron to sign up, and there was a whole long list of rules you had to follow to be listed on IndieCron. And one was like, declare CG and CG only and all this stuff. And I had, messaged Pixel Trader at the time, and I said, I can't join this. And he's like, why? And I said, well, there's a few things in here. One is, A, you don't show Kickstarters, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
all Indiegogo. And B, you're going to make me put a brand in my arm that I don't necessarily want to wear, and because of that actually led to change to IndieCron. I was the first ever Kickstarter to be listed there, and he also took away that fucking rule.
Good, because what's funny, and again, I'm just seeing hypocrisy after hypocrisy here, and I haven't even gotten to the one I wanted to mention yet. But they all kind of turn to your boy Zach for advice, or watch his videos. He's always talking about how whenever the reports come in for comic book sales, and they're like, talking about crowdfunding, they only ever mention Kickstarter. They never mention Indiegogo. Well, here they are, want to only mention Indiegogo and never mention Kickstarter. They're not being very inclusive.
Well, it's just the same tactics, different sides, right? I mean, human beings are human beings, and they're going to act like human beings, and we're not that much different from the other side of the aisle when it comes right down to it,
Yeah, and then the point was brought up, Billy Tucci, who I don't think is really declared Comicsgate, but is pretty much, Comicsgate, does Kickstarter. And I swear to God, the words came out of their mouth, well, Billy Tucci's a friend of ours and he's been grandfather. I'm like, what the holy hell are you talking about?
What was said was Ethan himself said, Comicsgate doesn't give him a pass. I give him a pass because he's my friend. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That was the exact words, that he said the other night on user stream. And he said, like Billy Tucci, I know him for years. He's a family friend, and that's pretty much never going to stop. So he does get a pass. But he said, any new creators who choose to use Kickstarter, he said, I'm not going to disavow them, but he said I'm probably going to turn my back from them, and they're not going to get any help from me.
Yeah. Now, to Ethan's credit, I watched during that stream. He got a link to Kyung Lee's stream and started watching that. And you could see him getting information from Kyung was getting through to him. He's like, oh, wait, emotional involvement. Maybe I am too emotionally involved in this. And he did turn around from that. He put out a whole tweet string the next day on his own opinion on it. That, he's not going to turn away from anybody who's doing Kickstarter. But, he wishes them well. He doesn't think they'll do well on it because, Kickstarter doesn't like CG. I don't think that's a problem. I think people are going to get on Kickstarter and make money.
It's there. If you're a known CGer, that might be a problem though with them. Like they, got rid of Mike S. Miller. They didn't let your boy Zach on. I guarantee you, if Ethan Van Sciver tries to go on there, they're probably going to tell him no. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
which is weird because they'd be making so much money off of them.
Yeah, but they rather suffer that loss and have the bad PR that's going to come with it.
Well, what would happen? I mean, 3 independent creators who have a $500 Kickstarter would pull out. I would love to be a fly on the wall in Kickstarter if Ethan decided to put one up there just to mess with them, even if that was the only purpose for it.
Well, he wouldn't even get up to that point because they have to review it first. He wouldn't get past the review process.
Yeah. So and that's probably a low level unpaid thing that doesn't have to report anything. They don't have to say.
Probably a bot that sits there and checks to see if you're near the Ethan Van Sciver.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whoever turns things down.
And that's the real reason why I think they're telling people not to go that way, because they know they're not going to be allowed on there.
You think because you think they know they themselves aren't going to be allowed on there?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me lay this out here. So mid-tier CG guy who normal people don't know.
Probably could get a pass.
Get on there. And then once that person does, 2-3 other people will, and they'll start making money on Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys who are making all the money on Indiegogo will be like, we can't get on there. And
you're too well known, right? I mean, you don't think that the people that run Kickstarter aren't aware of who Ethan Van Sciver is?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Of course they know, right? They're the ones that host Deadbeats from Renfamous,
Yeah.
It's different
But
for
she only
guys
put
like
one
me and
story in
Max
that.
because we're not that neck deep into it all. We're just independent creators that make our own books, and Kickstarter's aware of that. But if you're Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, or Cecil, or someone that's on that show, the big show, I don't know for a fact, but I think Kickstarter probably wouldn't let them on.
I'm sure they wouldn't let them on, especially if it's like I don't think the people who run the place, the people who make the big bucks, are aware of the decisions that get made at the lower levels. No, intern checker who says yes to this, no to this, isn't going to write a report at the end of it. Says, yeah, I turned away this campaign. This guy's made $3 million on Indiegogo. He doesn't need us, so I told him we didn't need his money. Because if they had a financially savvy person at the top of that food chain, they'd be getting a new intern right after lunch.
It was an interesting debate, but again, I would encourage anyone that's out there that, if you want to be that hardcore into the movement, that's up to you. But if you want to really expand your audience, I would have told Clint, fucking go for it, man.
Yeah, I did. I'd support him either way. I interview people with Kickstarters all the time. I interview people with Indiegogos all the time.
Well, that's what I had said. Listen. I talked to someone today who will go remain nameless, but he's someone that frequents the CromCon show, right? Pops' show.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know you're not CG and stuff, and you've had your shit to say about it. So why are you going on a CG show, right, with RJ? Because they knew I was coming on here. And I said, well, look, it's like this. I said, I've talked to RJ several times. I find him to be a very rational and cool, sort of almost neutral sort of cat. I said, yeah, he's Comicscape. At the same time, he'll talk to anyone. Non-CG, Kickstarter, Indiegogo alike, and that's what I like about him. You know what I mean? Like, we could just come on and talk comics and have a good time.
I will talk to anybody who's making comics, I say I'm Comicscape, but I'm not making any comics.
Yeah, that's one of the issues I've kind of run up against is like certain shows. I'll be like, hey, I got this book, I want to talk about it, would you like to talk about it on your show with me sometime? And they'll be like, you're not Comicsgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It works against us too, right?
Like, no, I'm not. So
basically they become the new gatekeepers.
Well, there's gatekeepers on both sides.
There's gatekeepers on both sides, and I'll come out and say it. There are some gates that need to be up.
But here's the thing. I don't understand why anyone needs to walk through a gate when it comes to comics, because you're essentially your own business. What Max does is Atrocity Press. What I do is NYOBI Comics. We're two separate entities, right? Yes, we're friends. Yes, we network, but we're not like in some sort of league or group, underneath the same banner. We run two completely separate businesses.
Yes.
Right?
And that's where the gates would have to be kept, is on a business level, because as soon as you let somebody in and you see the memes all the time, that this is not inclusive, let us in. Okay, we'll come on in. We don't like it, now we're going to change it. No, that's when the meme stops. You say, no, there's the door.
Here's my biggest argument with Comicsgate, and it goes like this. You say that you're all about the books, just having cool books and customer service, right? Those, as far as I know, are the two amendments. If this was like the Constitution of CG, which I also heard thrown around, that would be number one and number two, right? We offer both of that. We offer cool books, I think.
Yep.
And, I know Max does great customer service. I always answer every message as soon as I see them. I replaced, lost or damaged goods, which hasn't happened much, but when they do happen, we're right on it. We're very quick, in that regard. I would say that for both me and Max,
You got to be that way.
If that's all that matters when you want to read comic books, then you don't need a label for that. You could just do that,
Yeah, and the label only applies as far as those who want to be seen as rebels against the mainstream. Well, fine, fly your your Union Jack or your rebel flag of CG and go for it. Be that way. I'm going to talk about like Robert Roberts said. I had a guy on here, Rusty Gilligan, who, by the way, I had not heard the name before. And once I had him on, I'm like, how have I never heard of you before? Because the man worked with Jack Kirby. The man was an actor on Little House on the Prairie. The man was a professional wrestler. The guy's a renaissance man in fandom.
All over the place.
Material. Yeah, and he had dinosaur trading cards, which were just like photographs of dinosaur dioramas from museums around the world that looked realistic. and nothing to do with comics there at all, really. But we talked to people.
Will says Max hasn't hit me up yet for the new Kickstarter. Now I feel like Frank Miller.
Well, see, now Max, you got to get on Will's show.
Yeah, I got to go on Will's show. Will, send me a message.
Robert, we have Ichthus in the chat, as I commonly like to call him. Itchy5 must survive. And Itchy5 says, what is up? Total excellence. What's going on, brother?
Oh, so we have not talked about your book. We talked around your book.
Plan to do right.
We talked around your book a lot. Like, hey, you've got a book. Hey, you might be going to conventions. Hey, you're going to be in stores.
There.
Yeah. But exciting comics number 17.
Yeah, man, it's cool. It's a dream come true. It was in the preview magazine that was just released today. So
AG21.
Yeah, I'm a number now. Did you know that? I'm not a free man anymore. I am a number. I have a barcode.
Debriefed.
Yeah, my number is AUG 211490.
That's too long for a license plate, man. But if it was not, I would be putting in for a personalized license plate just to memorialize.
Here, let me show you something.
Yeah, share that beautiful bean footage.
Bean footage?
Roll that.
Y'all are waiting.
I don't know how well that can be seen. That was me taking a photo of it right there.
Oh, I can see it right down there in the lower left.
We had nice corner spot in the preview magazine, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was going to say you had to go out and buy one of these, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just came out today. I went to the comic shop, picked up my comics, and yeah, I definitely got one of these. And as soon as I got it, I plopped it right down on the desk at the shop, and me and the two guys that were working there opened it up and checked it out,
Yep. And then you said, now how many of these are you going to get?
Well, I'm going to get 10 myself.
Yeah, but the store's
got an order in for
like
10, and I'll probably get some comp copies, but 10 for sure from the shop. And a few I'll keep, a few I'll give away, and probably a few I'm sure people will want after the fact, and I'll have them to sell.
You're gonna do a signing at the store? I mean, that seems like it would be.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a signing at the store. It would just be for a couple hours, hang out, sign some books.
It would seem to be the customary thing to do.
But
sell books, sign books.
I mean, that's no, don't share that anymore. I mean, it's pretty cool, man.
We get your DMs, man.
I mean, if you would have told 14-year-old me that I'd be, doing something with Antarctic Press and that my shit was going to be in the preview magazine, I would have laughed you out of the room. You know what I mean?
Now, we talked about doing the crowdfunding thing. You're still going to crowdfund the books and then they go to Antarctic?
Yeah. Well, I mean, initially I was just going to be in Exciting Comics, right? And it turns out I'll be in 4 issues. They're going to divide up the NYOBI story in 4 parts. I'll be in 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then after that, it was, let's see, sort of where it goes. But now it's turned into, well, I had an hour and a half long talk with their editor-in-chief today over social media. And I was showing him all the new stuff that we're doing for the next Kickstarter for NYOBI Origins, and talking about, some of my plans and some of the characters we got and stuff. And basically what they said was, we want it all, because I had proposed to them, I would love to do something again with you guys, but, underneath her own label, you know what I mean? And they're absolutely all up for it. In fact, we sort of laid out a brief schedule, guide, if you will, to how things might come out in 2022. So, I mean,
so there'll be a NYOBI number 1.
Well, it'll be NYOBI Origins number 1 would be like sort of the first one that would come out underneath the Antarctic Press label.
Well, okay. So is that going to be a miniseries? Because
I'm going to do them as one-shots and miniseries.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like if it was like Danger Girl, like Danger Girl does their comics. Not like they'll just do like a 3-part miniseries called Revolution or something. Then, a few months will go by, then another Danger Girl miniseries will come out, that sort of stuff.
And then after so many months, out of nowhere, it'll be NYOBI number 50 because it'll be the 50th book, but even though it's not numbered 1 through 49.
You know how old I would be by the time we got to NYOBI number 50?
Well, let's see if you do one a month.
Well, right now that's not feasible, right?
I know. That's the other question I was going to ask too. Is what kind of a schedule can you maintain while working under the auspices of a mainstream but independent publisher?
Well, the idea would be to have as much done ahead of time as we can. So, I mean, they're looking at maybe publishing NYOBI Origins in April, and we're in August right now, right? So that gives us, I don't know what, August.
8 months.
September,
Yeah.
October, November, December, January, February, like good 7-8 months, right?
You can have a baby in that amount of time.
Yeah. So we'll have the book done long before then, and then what we'll do is we'll immediately go into the next book, right? And hopefully we can have maybe 2.5, 3 done before it even reaches print. You know what I mean? And that's sort of how you stay ahead. I mean, that's how Marvel does it. They work 6 months in advance.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all the all the stuff you see was started 6 months ago. So
I mean, basically, we'll do a book, we'll crowdfund it, and then it will get published with AP. We'll do a book, we'll crowdfund it, it will get published with AP. That is going to be sort of the rinse and repeat of how that's going to work.
now you're going to have working with AP. Obviously, you've got the distribution channel. Does that give you access to any of their other creatives? I mean, can you get like an AP artist to do work on the book, or are you going to continue with the artist you have?
It's going to be my team.
Okay.
I talked to those guys today, because they're freelancers, so I want to make sure that they were willing to commit, to doing something like this, and they're in. Could I, work potentially with other people from AP? Well, I have, not doing interior artwork, but we've worked with Matthew Weldon. He's done a couple of covers for us, from Punchline. We worked with Luigi Terrell from over at Rags. He's done a couple of covers with us. You know what I mean? So the potential for that stuff is certainly there.
And the potential is also there for crossovers. I know you've done the cover crossovers before, and I think you've done a story crossover. I don't know if I'm misremembering.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's been talked about quite a bit.
Okay, but now it's something that could more feasibly happen.
Well, I mean, it probably will happen. One of the books that Ben Dunn wants to do is called Exciting Comics Team Up, which would basically be like Antarctic Press's version of Marvel Team Up.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So that's going to happen, and obviously NYOBI will be in 1 or 2 of those. I mean, there's already one guy that has stuff in Exciting Comics that wants to team up with me already, and he's willing to draw it. So I see no reason why we wouldn't pursue that. And then there's another book coming out called Indie Wars, which is going to be basically like Antarctic Press's year-end annual, and it's going to be like Crisis of Infinite Earths, where all these different realities and shit sort of collide. So we have a way to bring in all these heroes from all these other universes, and then split them apart at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love those things. So I'm going to be watching for that. Doesn't matter what universe it's in. I bought Awesome Comics had something that was like Crisis. It was a couple issues. Like, I don't know any of these characters, but damn, I love it when they all get together.
I can show you a couple of cool things here, man.
Please show me as many cool things as you can.
And
Max, what about you? When are you going to Antarctic Press?
I actually submitted Mary Machine Gun to Antarctic Press, and they needed me to cut some things out because it was too adult in nature. And
Okay.
I decided I didn't want to do that. But
So you're going to go to Aircell then?
we do have another book coming up that I'm going to submit, and Ben's waiting for it. So as soon as it's done, I'll send it over there. And it's definitely not sexualized. So it's just a bunch of heroes getting a vase back from a house that was stolen during World War II.
Speaking of getting back stolen vases, did you guys see that story today that the government took like a plate of the story of Gilgamesh from Hobby Lobby?
No, I have no idea what's going on.
they had some tablet which had part of the story of Gilgamesh on it, like $1.2 million, and the feds came and took it. Well, what had happened was it was stolen, and then whoever had it sold it to the people who run Hobby Lobby, because they buy all these, old middle world antiquities. Yeah. But when I saw the head, I'm like, whoa, $1.2 million hobby. Usually they have like 50 of them for $14.99 in a box. You got to find one that's not chipped. Like, if I had that at Hobby Lobby, the first thing I would have definitely done was made a mold of it and started selling it.
Exactly. I'm like, why didn't they do that?
People I got a screen share for you, RJ.
I know. I'm just blind. I'm not seeing when new windows pop up.
This is a sneak peek. It's not complete yet. This is the bare bones of the Kickstarter.
Do you have a picture of NYOBI that I won't like?
Probably, but there'll probably be few and far in between.
Okay.
Try to keep those in the back room.
Right?
Because I'm like, I like every picture of her that I see.
Right now, somewhere, John Malin's groaning.
Like, it's NYOBI. Wait, why is it green around the buttons?
Yeah.
Oh, holy hell!
What the fuck?
LP.
So, yeah, this is just the basics, man. Like I said, this is a work in progress. But cover A by our interior artist, Mr. Don Dewan Antonio Atovera. Colors by Dan Overa.
Cool.
Cover B with our new character being introduced. She's a badass psychic. You don't want to fuck with her, Sybil. Again, done by Don Dewan, and colors by Dan the Man Overa. Then we get into homage to Mr. J. Scott Campbell. This is a homage to a Supergirl Gen 13 cover.
Yeah.
So you may have seen that post before. This features, of course, NYOBI and the Mighty Might, which just got done a very successful, crowdfunding campaign with over 600 backers on Kickstarter. The Mighty Might, man. So that's a crossover cover. This here is done by Joel Souza, who's got a very sort of Bruce Timm, sort of Darwin Cook sort of style to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty
animated NYOBI.
It's fun. He's like, "Can I change the outfit?" I said, "Go nuts, brother." So he had fun with it.
Do it.
This here is done by Mr. David Fott. This was part of the J. Scott Campbell challenge, the Black Cat challenge that he did.
Yeah, that was a genius stroke from him.
So we did this just for fun, but I do want to point out that, and I wish I had his link because I forgot. But David Fott just fought a battle of cancer. He had colon cancer that was just cut out of his body, just last week. So there's a GoFundMe for Mr. David Fott. If anyone has been through it, or you want to help out an artist who's put a lot of work into the comic book community. Maybe I'll grab the link here after I'm done scrolling through this, and we'll throw it in the chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, give it to me. I'll put it out there.
Next is Andre Boulard, right here from my own small town in Canada. Andre did the very first NYOBI cover 7 years ago, so it was only fitting to bring him back for Origins #1. Since he was there when we started it all. So we have that. Then we have Mr. Matthew Weldon. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And this is gonna be a beautiful cover. This is gonna be hollow foiled. It's gonna be nice and glossy and shiny. And it's gonna.
Is that a butterfly?
So it's kind of like a very cyberpunk looking thing. Love it.
Yeah.
Another sort of cyberpunk vibe is this one here. This one here is from Justin Hunt. He's mostly known for his work with Big Dog Inc. and Brian Polito's Lady Death. So very lucky to have Mr. Justin Hunt with us. Then from Rags, Luigi Terrell. And this is an homage cover to Adam Hughes' Catwoman #51 when she was getting her mugshot taken.
I remember that cover too.
So that's going to be pretty cool. Then we have one more cover that we've yet to announce. I'm just waiting for it to come in before I say anything. We're going to have some add-ons. I don't have the graphics here yet, but there's going to be a third printing of the original NYOBI #1 that will have a brand new cover. We're going to offer copies of Birthright 1 and 2 as add-ons. There's going to be a blank variant as well. I think we're going to do a Steph Wilson bundle. We're going to have metal prints. We're going to have some stretch goals, which is going to have a lot of stickers and trading cards and that sort of stuff. And this here's just a rundown of who's all involved. There's going to be pictures and stuff with this for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And then just rules.
Kickstarter?
Pardon me?
Is this your first Kickstarter?
Oh God, no! This is number 7.
Oh my God! Okay, never mind.
And I've done 3 Indiegogo campaigns.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you what the UI was like, the user interface.
I prefer Kickstarter. I'll be honest. In Indiegogo is kind of wonky. I'm so used to the Kickstarter interface and the things that will let you do. There is obviously some differences. We all know that Kickstarter does not take your money right away.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, and I know that's a great with a lot of people, but I'll explain the reasoning for that, is because Kickstarter doesn't offer flexible funding. Okay. So either your project funds or it doesn't, right?
Right.
So they don't take the money until it funds, because there's no sense in taking the money, because if it doesn't fund.
Oh, there's plenty of sense in taking the money.
No, because if they take the money and it funds, then they got to refund it all back.
Yes, but while it's funding, they're gaining interest.
Nah. I think for them it's just
but that's not how they make the decision to run their business.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, if it funds, then great. We'll grab the money and then we'll ask for everyone's address. But they don't waste their time with that unless if it funds. But see, on Indiegogo, if you do flexible funding, no matter what you make, you're going to get. So they'll just take it. You know what I mean?
True. But they also take it on Indiegogo if you have a hard goal. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a mix. I don't know. As a customer, obviously I like them to take my money right away. I've got notes right now because I've got Kickstarters that are coming out at the end of the week. I'm like, okay, make sure you keep that money there because they're going to take it. And as a presenter on shows, Kickstarter just annoys me.
Well, but this also gives the fans though some peace of mind, right? They don't have to worry about losing their money if something doesn't fund, or underfunds, because that doesn't happen in Kickstarter, right? Too often we'll see people put a goal of $500 on Indiegogo as like a flexible funding, hoping that they're going to play with the algorithm and get bounced up when they meet goal, but then they end up with like $800, but they need 3,000 to make their comic.
Yeah, that's you got to know your audience when you're going to do something like that. Like I had Kara Nicole on a couple of weeks ago, and I told her, so I looked at her Indiegogo history, and she'd always done a cosplay calendar for the past 4 years. I was like, I'm looking at 6,000, 9,000, 35,000. What happened? And she said what she did was she did the Kickstarter first and made all her money on that. And then when she went to Indiegogo afterwards, it wasn't just that she went to Indiegogo, but there's a mechanism in place where you can take the Kickstarter money and roll it over automatically to Indiegogo. So you set, your $500 goal, you drop 35,000 in it, you're a project we love.
I threw that GoFundMe into your private chat.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man, for sharing it out.
Oh yeah, David's cool.
He is a good cat. If you're not familiar with him, he trust me, he's a good guy. He does a lot for people.
All right, it's out there for David Fout. There's the GoFundMe link there. Man just had surgery for you said colon cancer, right?
That's it, man.
Yeah, you need that. Life sucks without one.
So yeah, I mean that's a lot. What's going on? A lot happened today.
Yes. Now, this is not anything that's been on Indiegogo before, so this is new. Are you going to go to Indiegogo after Kickstarter, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it'd be the same argument. Why would you go to Indiegogo and not Kickstarter?
Well, I just didn't know if this was something that had already been on Indiegogo, and I think
Origins
is always Kickstarter first.
We're still working on Origins. In fact, we're still doing pages, right? So we got all the covers, and we're neck deep in pages right now. I can show you what one of those looks like if you're curious.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you,
like to see pages.
We changed artists since Birthright, right? So we got a new artist now, and Samir was great, but Juan is also great. Here, let me pop this up. Let's just give you a sample. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So that's done by Juan Antonio.
Vision.
And colors again by Dan the Man Overa. And my colorist was actually contacted by Dan Mendoza today. If you know who he is, he wants my colorist to do some work for him because they worked together before over at Action Lab Comics back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a sample of what it's going to look like on the inside. We have 10 pages done that are penciled and inked. It's going to be a 35-page book. So, we're chewing away at it. We've been at it for a month. And then as we sort of get pages done, I feed a couple to my colorist and he gets them done. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we have 3. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say we have 3 pages that are completely colored now, 10 that are, penciled and inked, and 2 more that are being drafted. So every day, progress.
Moving on up.
George, that's not old news. No, the exciting news is not that NYOBI is going to be in Exciting Comics number 17, but that afterwards they're going to print all of them.
Yeah. So George, they decided to take me on officially, and NYOBI's going to have her own stuff in 2022.
So are they just starting with new stuff, or are you gonna reprint some of your older crap?
They offered that. They said we can reprint your old stuff, we can do the new stuff. You know what I mean? They said we can even take what you've done in Exciting Comics and we can just put that in its own volume after.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, the important question is, what's the app you guys use to make Powerpuff Boys?
I'll send you the link.
So it exists. I knew it did.
Oh yeah, it exists. I've used this avatar for years, and then we started doing these bite-sized videos on my channel, and I just had the boys make up their avatars. So like, because don't always need to be on camera, and I found that doesn't matter if I'm on camera because people don't care to see my ugly face. They just want to hear what I got to say,
Yeah.
And since we've been doing these smaller videos, we've been gaining subscribers. I did a video on He-Man. It's got over 1,600 views, just in like a couple of days. So.
Well, speaking on He-Man, the reason what I was getting ready to say earlier, and this is all because George, who's timely here in the chat, posted a tweet with these outrageously expensive statues that just look so good. Like you're deep enough into NYOBI's run now that you need to be you're at a place where you can comfortably look at doing the action figure or the maquette kind of thing.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, God, no. I'm only going to be looking at stuff like that when we're really well established. I mean, right now, as far as I'm concerned, we're still on the ground running. It's like an airplane, ripping down the runway. We're just hoping to catch some wind and start to lift off. And I feel like that's just finally starting to happen right now. But we're far from in the air. We're far from soaring. It's still very expensive for me to make this comic. It does pay for itself, but I have to nickel and dime everything, So, taking on toys or statues or something like that, just, it would break the bank. And, B, I just don't know how much of a market we would have for that yet. Like we need to grow it even more before I look at doing a whole bunch of extras,
Well, I think your market is growing. So you are going to have to be there eventually someday. I think I can see a NYOBI statue, and it looks great, by the way, and it's done by that Japanese guy who does all the manga DC characters. So
no, I mean, don't get me wrong. No one wants to see like a hot, anime style NYOBI statue more than I do. But I just don't want to be going the hole for it. That's all.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. I like this no camera thing. You can scratch where it itches when you're on camera.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about looking cute or anything like that. I could just go on and say my piece and be done with it.
Yeah. Well, Max, we brought you on here because we want to talk about your book too, and we haven't done a thing about that. So let's
that's all good.
Shift over there and talk a little bit about what's new and exciting with Mary Machine Gun. Not going to Antarctic Press, but maybe going, maybe another book going there sometime.
Well, Max is his own label. Max is a publisher. It's Atrocity Press. Max has got more than one title. He's got like 2 or 3 on the go for sure.
Well, that would.
We've got Mary Machine Gun. We've got Neo Tokyo. The Truth is a Virus. And when coming up, we've got Human Hunters. We've got Teenage Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space.
I want that one.
Yep, everyone will. And we've got Grimm, which is another story that's going to be in the Mary's universe, but it's about another guy.
Well, anytime you say that it's set in the same universe, Max, the first thing I think of is they're going to meet sometime. Because that's the only way you truly establish that they are in the same universe.
Well, in Mary Machine Gun issue 3, they walk past each other.
Oh, that's cool.
They
don't know it. They just like, yep, there she is. There he is.
Yep, exactly.
If you really want to sell that, not only will they walk past each other in Mary Machine Gun 3, they'll walk past each other in the other book too.
Yeah, they probably will.
You'll have that moment that's, hey, this is where the books intersected right here.
We've been working on that. Me and Fernando have been working on that because we've got 3 books that we know we want to have in the same universe. And we've been working ways in to kind of like drop Easter eggs in certain portions of the books that if you go back and once you've read the other book, you go back and say, hey, this is the same panel from a different angle.
Yes. Yeah. They could even have the same word balloons. Like, they're just walking as they pass each other in the street. You have the conversation audibly, visually audibly, with word balloons. So you get that one exchange of the story at the same time you're still going on with the Mary Machine Gun story.
Exactly.
And then again, the same thing, you mirror it. I think that'd be a very cool thing to see done in comics.
You know what else is a cool thing to see? Doris Jones in the chat says, hi, gents. Was driving and couldn't comment before. Wanted to say thank you for the discussion today. Lots of helpful info.
And Dory has dropped her first crowdfunder. She is a paint. She's a painter and an artist. She uses paint, and she also writes haiku. So she's basically illustrating her haiku after encouragement from all the different streams that I've seen her on. Where the crowdfunders see Comicsgate people and crowdfunder people, because I'm not going to say it's just Comicsgate right now, because y'all know y'all ain't. But we're patrons of the arts. we like.
Well, we're comic book creators. That's sort of where it starts and ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I was telling that to Fernando, because I'm like, I pay you a monthly salary, so basically, if we was back in the old days, I'd be your patron.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I pay you money and you make me art.
Symbiotic relationship. Funny how that works.
Yep.
Can you imagine? Do you think that Michelangelo had a sign outside his door that said "Now taking commissions"?
Commissions closed.
He had a hard time at the cons,
Man, now that's a comic I want to see now. All of a sudden, I want to see Artist Alley in the Renaissance.
Someone's gonna make it. Something like you have like Picasso and fucking Michelangelo and all these all the Ninja Turtles basically.
Yes. Oh, that would be a great gag too if it was the the precursor names for all the Ninja Turtles all at the same table, just lined up with their little placards in front of them.
People out there, we gave you that one for free.
Yes, go with God, folks. Take it, run. I want to see it. Let me know when it shows up.
Let us know how it turns out. Max, let's have a look at Mary Machine Gun. Let's show the peeps if they've never seen it before.
Okay, you want me to share it here?
I'm hitting the same bong that Max is apparently.
You guys are having a good time. I'm bagging and boarding comics as we talk. I went to the LCS today and picked up some goodies. I'll show you after.
I've got 1,000 empty but fully boarded bags. They're just waiting for comics to be inserted into them.
Mary Machine Gun number 2, standing at 133 sexy backer strong, 4,725 freedom dollars. With he's halfway over. 15 days left to go.
15 days left. Tomorrow we will be, well, maybe I'll tell it tonight on the show, since I don't think I have a show tomorrow. But this right here is the pinup that we haven't released yet, but it's by Fran Cord. It's Fern Cord's brother. He's our inker.
That's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, I like it. I like how the rope is all... The kinetics of the rope is cool. I think it looks nice.
It's very much like the like the Golden Lasso kind of shots you'd see.
Yep. Then we have who is Mary Machine Gun. She's the member of the Templar Order, tasked with hunting down the supernatural in order to keep humanity safe. We got the first few pages. I always give away the first 7 pages. It'll probably change when we change the books to 24 pages after the 4th book. We're going to change to 24 pages because it's getting to the point where we might as well just start making them graphic novels, trade paperbacks.
Might as well, yeah.
Because this book itself is 42 pages.
I mean, if people are writing toward the graphic novel, I'd rather they just went ahead and wrote it rather than tease it out over 4 issues.
We weren't really writing towards a graphic novel. We had an idea of a story arc in mind when we did it, but it was going to be 3 books, and then it got to the point where it's like, well, there's just way too much story to tell. We're going to need another book.
Yeah. I mean, writing the graphic novel, I guess, is one thing. Story arc is kind of different. I mean, because we had story arcs in the 70s and 80s, but we still had the timing was there so that the books ended each issue in a place that you felt closure. Even if there was a cliffhanger, it's like, oh my God, I gotta come back next month. You still had closure. You felt something happened.
Yeah, I always try to stop it on a good cliffhanger or a good story beat. Like Mary Machine Gun 1 ends when she's looking out into the forest and she starts to have a flashback. And this part is just a direct continuation. This is continued from the flashback she was having at the end of book number 1. And this is her in 1767 in the south of France, heading to hunt down this werewolf. And she's traveling with some guards and stuff like that. And that's when they get jumped by some bandits. And you can't really see it too closely because it's far away and read it. But the driver's like, please, sir, don't do this. And it's like, look how they beg for their lives. And he's like, I'm not begging for my life. I'm begging for your lives.
Please, sir, may I have another?
That's a line that's right up there with Rorschach's, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
That's right.
Yeah. Then he takes the bullet to the face, and that's when they start trying to break in, and Mary breaks out, finishes them off. I love that disintegration look on that bullet going through that guy's head.
Nice.
And then the knife through the face. Can't ever go wrong with that. Then she's got to jump on the horse, and there's Larry's waifu, Charlotte.
That's my waifu. That's future wife there, sir.
She's the bad guy that's she set up the ambush, and she decided that Mary's gotten better over the last few months, so she's going to have to do something more drastic.
Okay. And by better you mean she's gotten more skilled and more formidable combat wise. And because Mary's new, this is they're still this what they're doing is called the test of faith. And when they train these Templars, they train 2 people at the same time, and then they give them each the same mission at the end of their training, and whoever completes the mission first becomes a Templar, and the other one becomes something else, like needs of the order, basically, which could be anything from becoming a clerk to being what Charlotte becomes, which is the Internal Magistratus, which is the internal police. One of you becomes the CEO, the other is middle management.
Pretty much. And then they go where Mary shows up and says that she was attacked. And these 2 drunkards of hunters decide to go try to check them out, help out the lady and go find these people who waylaid her, but they're already dead, so she lets them go off and do that because she's trying to protect these people from this werewolf. Because if you've ever heard of the Beast of Jovedon, it's a French werewolf. Yeah, it's a werewolf that was in the south of France in 1676 or 1767. And this is where Charlotte and Mary get together and they have a little catty moment with each other. And Charlotte's like, look, I'll do anything to get into this order, and you won't. You've got morals and I don't, so I'm going to send all these guys out to kill these hunters. And so you can either save these hunters, or you can go hunt this werewolf, whichever one you want to do. And then they have dinner. And that's when Mary realizes that Charlotte would actually do that. And this is one of my favorite pages right here, because there's some subliminalities to it, some subliminal messaging is here. If you notice, like each of the little windows that they're in, those could double as eye sockets. And then you've got this little curve right here, of the side of the skull, and then the jaw mandible thing right there. So it's kind of shaped like a skull. It's kind of interesting. It subliminally puts the idea of death in your head.
Oh yeah.
And then
you got the kind of like the that whiteness at the bottom there going horizontally across. It could be like teeth or lower jaw teeth.
Yep. That was Fernando's idea. He did a great job. And then here it comes, and that's the last of the freeness.
Drop me the link on that one, and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah,
when you're done.
He provides 7 pages for you for free to check it out, read a little bit of it, see what the art style is like, see if it's for you, and if this is your thing, then definitely back him. 15 days left. We want to see him beat his other record, which was 205 backers. We want to get him past that that threshold.
Need 206 this time. That's all I want. 206.
Well, we
You
can
can
get
get
that.
you can get Mary Machine Gun on digital, or you can get the Mary Machine Gun Reloaded, which is Mary Machine Gun issue number 1, but it's been relettered completely by SK. He was a fantastic letterist. I love that guy's work.
Great dude.
So I had to bring him on board. There's a little bit of dialogue adjustment, but nothing that changes the story. It just drives points home a little further.
How many more days you got on this?
15.
Oh, plenty of time.
Oh yeah, we got time. And then Fern Cord standard cover A. That's the one that most of the packages of things will come with. Then of course we've got DC Superstar Ed Bennis variant for cover B. It's got Mary and Charlotte fighting, which is actually really interesting. I like that cover a lot. But it's Ed Bennis. It's a bucket list of mine. Now it's been checked off the block. Then his brother, Fred Bennis, has got cover C, and there's something about this cover I really like. I just don't
Something
know.
catches the eye.
Yeah, I know.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but I want to.
Yeah. And then Mariah Benez, which is Ed Benez's sister. This is the first Benez that we ever worked with.
I think it's funny that she draws more eye-catchingly than her brothers do.
Right. Well, this is one of the more popular covers, if not the popular cover on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you notice that Max is working with the whole damn family. It's like a Vin Diesel meme. You know what I mean?
It's all about family.
Family.
You don't need a comic book company. You've got a family.
That's right. That's what it should be. Fuck me. That's great.
And then, of course, every project needs a Steph Wilson variant.
Yeah, Steph Wilson seems to be like the number one pimped out comic book artist for Kickstarter right now.
Yep. You always got to have one at least. And then Eric Blake, he just came off of Red Sonja 1982.
Yeah, just some small obscure character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never heard of her.
Yeah.
Nope. And came over and did this cover for us, and then Fern colored it. It worked out great. I think it looks fantastic. I mean, I can't wait to have one. That's what I always like to do, is make things that I want to own.
That's right. And the first thing you do when you open the boxes, you take one of each and you put them aside, and these are mine.
Exactly. And then here's all the same covers. They're just larger, so you can see more details. See, that's what I was talking about with the stuff with Ed Benez's piece. You can see all the reflective leather and everything.
EC legend, man, from books like Superman,
and started out doing Sam Marie. I believe so. I know he did.
I think he was doing Birds of Prey under Gail Simone's initial run.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and he also did. Damn, what was the name of that? It was kind of like X Factor or something like that, but not. Can't remember which one it was.
It's Marvel title. I can't remember.
Some group book.
You know, X-Men, X-Force, Excalibur, and X-Factor.
Exterminators.
Yeah.
It was X everything.
Yeah.
And this is the super popular cover. And see, everyone, there was a little it always flares up every once in a while about sexualization of women and
where are her organs?
Yeah, where are organs, that type of thing. And this is drawn by a woman. So, and she did more detail on like the underneath, like the muscle part of the pectoral here where the breast comes up and all those things. Like it's not as much detail of that on that or her brother's pieces, but her brother's pieces are kind of hiding it with the shoulder piece. But
they all three know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they definitely can fight with each other over who's better, I'm sure. And then that's the Steph Wilson cover.
Now, where are her organs? That's
right.
Yeah.
I think they're all at the top.
Yeah.
Yep, they've been squished up to the top.
Yeah. They're in 2 sockets.
And there's the Eric Blake cover, which I believe will be a Virgin cover.
Just like me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. I believe that.
Then Mary Machine Gun Reloaded, which I said is the first issue. So if you haven't, if you didn't get the first issue the first time, you want to pick this up, and you can pick it up on anything. Like we got catch-up tiers, both digital and physical, or you can just add it on to anything else you buy. That's one of the cool things. I think Indiegogo's got add-ons now too, but
They do.
not.
Yes, they do. I predict the campaigns are going to start going toward here's the book, buy the book, and then everything else is an add-on.
Yep.
That's probably not a bad idea, though.
Yeah.
That's
That way you don't have to figure out like 25 different tiers just to make sure that there's one for everybody.
Yep, that was almost what I did on this, was just set the everything as an add-on and just like here's the book, everything else is an add-on. That way you could just go with it. But I decided to
Pick the cover
That
you
might
want
have-
and then pick the rest.
Yep, but I figured that might be a little too extreme for people. So they're
You
used
got
to,
to ease
ready
them
for
into
you.
that.
yeah, they're so used to seeing it one way. I don't want to scare them off.
They're not ready for that jelly yet.
But this is the metal cover that we're doing, of course. It's Ed Benez's cover. And then we got the naughty cover, which is Mary with nothing on. You can-
She's got a shoulder pad on.
yeah, she does have a shoulder pad on. And then there's Charlotte.
No, she doesn't have a shoulder pad on.
No, she does not. These are the prints that were given away with the naughty tier. There's Mary with her machine gun. That's one of my favorites right there. It's by Alexander Santana.
That would make an excellent die cut sticker, Max.
Yeah,
I mean, take the yellow away from it, even just
Yeah.
just the body.
yeah, just the whole body. That'd be great. I have to put something over the top of her.
No, you wouldn't.
And
Let's
then
not get extreme here, Max.
Yeah, let's not go crazy.
there's Ophelia, which is the big bad evil lady in the book. So, and then she gets the calendar this year.
I love that image.
Ophelia gets the calendar this year. So, these are all.
Oh, it's all Ophelia pictures every month.
Yep. Mary got the first one. Ophelia gets the next one, and then Charlotte will have hers next when we do Mary Machine Gun issue 3. It'll
I gotta
be-
wait for my waifu.
Yeah.
The pillow, yeah, I get the pillow.
I really like September because it's like an old school pinup pose with the phone.
I love the pinup calendar stuff. Varga is, I'll always stop and stare at a Varga for
Oh
10
yeah,
minutes.
especially just all the Zippo stuff that they put their stuff on.
Yeah.
And the Mary Machine Gun stand up, I don't have it on the Kickstarter, but I do have the image. Give me just a second.
Cool.
There it is. You can see it.
Ken,
Yes.
That's going to be the cardboard stand up for this cycle.
How tall is that going to be?
It's going to be 4x6 is the size of the sheet that they printed on.
Okay, so 6 foot tall, or a little under 6 foot tall, because it has to be perforated out, I guess.
Yeah. And then we've got the different things we can give the full Mary, and then which is basically one of everything. And then we've got, even on top of that, we've got the completionist, which is one of everything, except for the naughty stuff and the metal covered for Ed Benez's metal cover, because those are numbered, and we've only got 50 of them.
Okay.
And then we've already got stretch goal number 1 knocked out, which was the bookmark, which was by Adri Tavares, which I really like because she's doing her little wink at her finger guns.
Yeah, cool bookmark.
Yep.
So plenty of time to hit those other stretch goals too.
Oh yeah, we've got plenty of time to move on up. Go back to the top here.
I mean, drop the link in the chat, folks. Hit that Kickstarter up there and help Max get this thing pushed as high as he can.
Right, grab an oar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grab a club and beat somebody over the head with it. No, that's not how it works. It's grab an oar. Yes, help paddle.
The better everyone does, the better everyone does.
Yeah, right. The a rising tide raises all boats.
I should start my own show, Kickstarter only.
Kickstarter tonight.
Right? I think I might do that just as a troll.
Crowdfunding live. Well,
but then I would have to like not let Indiegogo people on, and that's not fair because
I know.
Yeah.
You know what?
You'd become what you hate.
People on.
Yeah, I become what I hate.
You could let Indiegogo people on, provided they show you they have a plan.
No, anyone's welcome as long as they're not a fucking complete douche, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I have a Kickstarter that I'll show you guys too.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm hesitant to do this because every time I've asked Larry if he knows something, he hasn't known it. Do you know who Robert E. Howard is, Larry?
Yeah, guy who made Conan. You know.
Okay. All right, good.
This kicked off yesterday. This is my friend Michael Tierney, who you see every 2 weeks on the comic, the LCS guys.
Yeah, that thing just went off like a rocket.
Yeah, it did. 55,000 in 24 hours. So they've already hit their first stretch goal, which was a $50,000 stretch goal. This is a brick of a book. I've seen his Edgar Rice Burroughs chronology book, and this is going to follow in the same way. There'll be one version. Both of them are going to be in a slipped case, both versions. One of them will be with slip covers where the cover is going to be printed on the cover, and then there'll be a dust jacket around it with the same picture. And then the other set will be leather bound with the same gold foil imprint on all 4 volumes. He's going to have a volume dedicated to the pulps. He's reproducing the cover of every Robert E. Howard Conan book, and that includes all the Conan covers from Marvel Comics.
Wow.
Even if Robert E. Howard didn't draw them. And with the pulps themselves, he's also reproducing all the interior art that went with any Conan story. So if you like the we were just talking about pinups. If you like the pulp cover style stuff, this is one to get in on. The second volume is going to be the books, all the trade paperbacks, the Tor, and all the other different publishers that got a hold of it. And then volume 3, part 1 is the comics, which it's even going to have the Dark Horse and the Dynamite stuff in it. And then volume 4 is going to be more of the comics. There's Belit, there's Thulsa Doom, Solomon Kane, Savage Tale stuff.
Did Royal ever do any Conan stuff? You figure it'd just be kind of a no-brainer.
Who?
Royal?
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Louis Royal.
Louis Royal.
Oh. Royal. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I mean,
European artist, heavy metal, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't getting the reference at the point.
It just seemed like it'd be kind of a no-brainer to put him on some Conan stuff.
Well, I just
I don't think they can anymore, but
I just did a search for Louis Royal Conan, and I got like a ton of pictures back. So I would say that he must have done some of them. Sarah Frazetta is involved with this as well.
Nice.
In fact, why am I not seeing all the stuff that I saw before? Okay, I just scrolled past it. So yeah, 50,000 is unlocked. So that comes with the Peter Bradley print now, which is an homage to the character Solomon Kane. When it hits 60,000, Sarah Frazetta is going to do an art homage. At 75,000, there'll be a Robert E. Howard anthology that collects the Conan stories that ran in Weird Tales. This can be half of them, the first half of them. At 100,000, they'll be doing the second collection of the Weird Tales. So, that's stuff that's raw vintage Robert E. Howard stuff. $80,000. There'll be a collector's print from the pulps. One of the pulp covers will be reproduced. And Michael cleans these things up. I mean, none of them are going to look like they're a wrinkled old pulp cover. They're going to all look like they just came from the printer day one in every image. If it's a Conan cover, it's going to be big. If it's, he had a story in the book, but he wasn't on the cover, it's going to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Because, but it is an art chronology. Mike said he wants this to be like sort of your checklist. If you're a Conan completionist, you want to know what the book's going to look like that you're looking for. So, you'll be able to reference this book and say, oh, yeah, it looks like that. And of course, there's a ton of text involved in all of this, too. 90,000 is going to be a Peter Bradley print again. This one will be to the character Dark Agnes. So,
they're reproducing all the pulp, like the whole book.
No, they're not reproducing the whole pulp.
Just the Conan story of it.
The Conan stories, yeah. The 75,000 and the 100,000, those are going to be the stories that were in the pulps, and that will be with the I believe it's going to be with the interior art as well that came with them. So if there was interior art for that Conan story, it will be part of that. I was surprised and thrilled that it went up this high. This thing went up like $1,500 last night alone while they were on the stream. I'm like, I'm claiming credit for that.
I got the credit.
And I'll put that Kickstarter in the chat as well. There is, by the way, believe it or not, a digital version of this for $75. And when you said $75, I'm like, how big is it? It's 1,500 pages.
Damn.
And he said it's probably going to be bigger than that by the time it's done because
That's what she said.
Yeah, it'll be bigger than this by the time I'm done.
Grower, not a shower.
Yeah, so that's that.
Got lots of comments.
All cool stuff.
Yeah.
COVID Kev says your calendar is awesome.
Thank you.
And it is awesome. You picked a good model.
Yeah, Fernando did a really good job on that one, and he banged it out pretty quick. I mean, it took him about 2 weeks to do the whole entire calendar. Shit up, P.
I forgot to say that the people who are publishing this Conan book, by the way, are the same folks who do the Troll Lord games. So
it's hot here.
In Canada?
Yes, man, in Canada.
It's getting hot in here. So, oh wait, that's wrong.
So today's pickups, of course, we had to get Exciting Comics number 12 as we lead up to number 17 from Antarctic Press. Next, we got I Make Boys Cry number 2 from Absolute Comics, the same people that does Jamie Tyndall's White Widow. Then we have the only X-Men book worth buying right now, X-Men Legends number 5.
Wheezy.
Then we have from Antarctic Press, Patriotica United number 1. Then we have from Coffin Comics this beautiful cover by Colette Turner for Lady Death here.
I've never seen Lady Death look cute before.
There you go. And then we picked up a back issue today. This is Invincible Presents Adam Eve number 1.
Oh, nice. I like that name, Adam Eve.
Adam Eve. You ever watch the show? It's pretty cool, actually.
I have not yet. I've got Netflix. That's the only thing that I'm going to let myself watch.
If it ain't on Netflix, I'm not watching.
You can just find them for free, man.
So, well, I haven't found them for free yet, but I'm not going to get Amazon Prime for the stuff that's on there yet. I have the Ghetto Dragon arrived.
Ghetto Dragon.
That was a crowdfunder. That was an Indiegogo one, and it came with this this awesome print, which basically shows the old man kicking his ass all the way down the dojo in his training. So I've got to get that hung up on the wall here somewhere. Jamie Tyndall's doing White Widow. That's with Absolute, but I'd say Jamie Tyndall's got his own company too, out of St. Louis, Merc Magazine.
They're Miss Meow. Yeah, I talked with her a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I talked with her a month and a half ago, I guess.
Yeah, well, I did the week after you did.
Okay.
she was like doing the world tour, right? So
yeah. So after it was over, I'm like, well, I can't wait for this to be over. I'm going to go to the website, and I ordered book 1 and a T-shirt. So.
Speaking of order,
yes. So that AUG 211490.
I'm not a number. Yes, I am a
Yes.
number.
Give that number to your LCS guy on a slip of paper and say 2 of these, please.
That's right. One to read and one to slab.
Because here's the thing, folks. If you have a good LCS guy, they're not going to order stupidly. They're going to order based on what they know they can sell. And the only way they know what they can sell is if their customers tell them that they want something.
Right. Well, this is the time to pre-order that book. If you want to guarantee a copy and make sure it's in your PO box, you have to order it this month. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, because your retailer's got this thing called final cutoff, after which point they can't order any more copies of a certain thing. So you don't want that to sneak up on you.
And my goal is to make this the highest selling Exciting Comics issue up to date. So, help me out and prove to AP that we can do it. I mean, it's only going to be $5. I mean, think about that too, right? The way that this will go in the future is if you don't participate in the crowdfunding, that's fine. You won't get like maybe some of the super cool and sexy variants, you know what I mean? Because that's where they'll be offered. But you can definitely get, cover A or whatever for $5 at your local LCS. That's how it's gonna rock. You know what I mean? Like,
now, is that gonna? Obviously, it's gonna say Antarctic Press on the corner, so that's what's gonna make it different. You'll know whether or not you've got the $25 Indiegogo or Kickstarter version versus the $5 Antarctic Press version.
Sure. Well, I mean, on top of that, though, I mean, Antarctic Press may only do 1 or 2 covers on my next Kickstarter. We got like fucking 12.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And what I was gonna, but where I was really going with that was, are they going to do entirely different covers?
I can do that. Yeah, I mean, right now, with Exciting Comics, we're using a Randy Green cover, and we're also using a Matt Weldon cover for number 19.
Good choices.
But in the future, I probably will do that. Just do something brand new just for those and make those sort of special and cool in their own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if it's a whole new piece of artwork, that would definitely entice people who've already bought the one to buy the other.
No, for sure.
This is a version. I don't have this version. I need this artwork. Especially if you're keeping Weldon and Green around in the stable to keep doing stuff.
Yeah, well, got some high level talent, either has been with us or going to be with us. Lots of guys. I get messages now from like people I would have never have approached asking me, if there's a spot on NYOBI, and right now we're completely capped out for cover artists and stuff like that. But when we do the next project, I'll shuffle a couple of people out. I'll shuffle a couple people in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got dynamite artists that hit me up all the time because there's a lot of dynamite artists from Brazil. Shocking.
Yeah,
and,
there's a lot of artists in Brazil that are struggling to get out.
And they always send me messages like, "Do you want something to do art for you?" And I'm like, "Buddy, I would love to hire you, but I'm at my maximum budget."
Yeah, because otherwise, you and Larry could be like doing, I know I'm working on issue 2. Why don't you start working on issue 3 and you start working on issue 4 because you have similar styles and it won't be jarring or glaringly different.
It's funny you say that. I've started that already.
Yeah,
I'm doing a Vaughnie manhunt. It's a one shot of like the villain of NYOBI, and it's gonna be like her story. It's gonna be a smaller campaign, right? But that's gonna be after Origins, and we already hired we haven't paid her yet, but we've made arrangements. We've recruited our first artist. Her name is Courtney Rose Dameron, and she does some sexy stuff, man. Again, really Max's cool. Point, a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's really cool. Good. Gave me a nice rate, and so we signed. That'll be her first NYOBI cover, and she was one of the ones that came to me. She's like, "When am I ever going to get to do a NYOBI cover?" And I'm like, "I didn't know you were interested in doing a NYOBI cover, so we'll figure it out. When I can fit you in." She's also going to be doing the cover for the NYOBI #1 third printing. So we're reprinting the very first one we ever did, and she's going to do the cover for that.
Nice. Lots of good, cool artwork coming from your studio, man. Nothing sucks from either of you guys. It's all bringing the heat.
It took a long time to get here. I mean, it's 7 years of busting our asses and grinding. I mean, I don't know how long Max has been at, but for me, it's been 7 years.
Persistence matters. I mean, I've been doing this YouTube thing for 2.5 years, and I thought I was never going to get that 4,000 hours. I finally hit it in May, and last night I got this thing from you. Well, a couple of nights ago, I got this thing from YouTube that says, "Hey, congratulations on your 10,000 hours." I'm like, when the hell did that happen?
Well, do you have like, are you monetized? You got the super chats and stuff?
I've been monetized. I've had super chats. I've collected 2 super chats in the last 2 months. So,
Hey,
You're rich.
but I'll put this out there now. The bill is coming due on Critical Blast in August, and it's a 3-year bill to keep the website going. So super chats can start rolling in on all these videos coming up after this one, folks. So don't be shy. We'll work with you. We were talking about the artists in Brazil, and by the way, that's something else that we just started this week, and I've got to put some final touches on. Y'all know I've been doing the Critical Blast logistics for international shipping, and somebody in Brazil brought up the fact that they'd like to get help with shipping, or they have questions about shipping. I'm like, yeah, here we are. I'm like, okay, that all works great, but here's the problem: I can't do an Indiegogo because Brazil.
yeah.
So we launched Critical Blast Consulting, which exists solely to host your Indiegogo if you are in a country where you cannot have an Indiegogo.
So why is that? Why can't they have Indiegogo?
I have no idea why it is.
Banking laws.
Banking laws, what have you. But we've seen Brazilian creators get around it by having
Can
people
they have
in America host it.
Kickstarter? Can
No,
they
they
do
can't.
Kickstarter?
They have to use I can't remember what it's called. There's a Brazilian Kickstarter clone that people have to use if you live in Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to get around that. We're going to do an end run around the whole process, and we will host your Indiegogo. You will, work with us in setting up to look like the way you want to. It'll be hosted by Critical Blast Consulting, and then of course, we will collect a percentage fee off of the profit. It's not going to take it off the top, so that you've still got to pay all your shipping and crap out of whatever's left. Pay your shipping first, pay your printing first, pay everything first. Once it's down to just whatever you've got left, then I'm like, okay, 5, 10, whatever percent of that. We'll work the contract out on that. So it'll be in my best interest now at this point. I mean, right now I'm pushing campaigns that are our clients, like, the Company Men and the Embrace, because the more books I ship, the more per unit I collect. But now with something like, in Brazil, not only would I be collecting on the shipping, but I'll be collecting on the books themselves. So I'll be like really pumping those projects nice and hard. Pumping nice and hard. Okay,
Right?
I think I've got something on my mind here. I'm not sure what it is, but I looked at too many
Been
Mary
too
Machine
long,
Gun
RJ.
pictures.
It's been too long.
Been too long.
Too much Man Machine Gun pictures.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting, next half of 2021 as we sort of, move forward, sort of out of the pandemic, hopefully, and into, whatever it's going to be, and I think everyone is making their moves and making their plays right now, and, switching positions, and it'll be interesting to see how it all sort of pans out as we move forward.
It is. It's going to be a brave new world out there. I mean, it's Comicsgate thing, I know, but there was all this animosity between Comicsgate and anti-Comicsgate, for lack of a better terminology.
Sure.
That never really got physical at the moment when it really could have gotten physical because of COVID. All the chances for physical confrontation were taken off the table. And if anything was a blessing for crowdfunding comics, that was, because everyone just stayed at home, focused on their books. Now, maybe heads are cooled off a little bit. People can actually sit across from each other at a convention.
Even if they can't, here's the thing. If you're at a convention, there's a certain professional behavior that you must abide by, and that would be not picking fights on the con floor. But on top of that, I look at it like this, because this question's been brought up, not only in Comicsgate side, but on the sides that I've circled and wherever, is because there's drama everywhere. It's not just in Comicsgate, right? So it's like, what happens when cons come back and all these people run into each other? They're going to be like punching each other out for shit said online. I'm like, probably not.
Yeah.
You ever see the meme where like 2 dogs are barking at each other, but there's a fence blocking them, right? And they're all vicious and they're ready to go at it. But as soon as you lift the fence up, they sniff each other and kind of walk their separate directions. That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I think there was the general and genuine concern early on when you had people talking about taking a baseball bat to somebody's teeth, or putting them in a wheelchair, or, you know, if I'm on a panel and this person's at the con, you come get me out of the panel. I want to.
Yeah, well, that's a Mark Wade statement.
Yeah, it was, exactly. I was trying not to name names.
Hey,
Well, that's what we do.
Look. When I had a conversation earlier today with AP, you know, they're fully aware of all what's going on. You know,
Oh, sure.
I don't want to talk too much about a private conversation, but you know, they talked about the past and you know the way, you know, a little bit of the Wade situation with me, not a lot. You know what I mean?
I'm yeah. No one can talk about the Wade situation because it's over.
Right. But I mean, like, you know, it was something they had to go through because they were the ones that were going to publish Zach's book, and they're the ones that got the phone call from Wade, and they're the ones that had to turn Zach down. And, you know, CG really got upset with them. And then, you know, people got upset with Rags because they were still going with the Antarctic Press. It was a mess, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I remember it. I
like
remember
it was yesterday.
And,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is, but everyone's got to, you know, do what's best for them and their business. You know what I mean?
I remember being mad at Mark Wade.
Yeah. Well,
Everybody
tortious
was mad at
interference
Mark.
was the whole thing, right? And then the whole
Yeah.
lawsuit happened, and you know we know where that ended up. You know, like
It's going all the way. It's going all. Well, we're not going all the way.
That pissed me off so much. I was like, I don't know. I'm sure there was a good reason.
that lawsuit was important, not just for Zach or for, you know, whoever. It was important for the rest of us so that we had some sort of legal
Precedent.
standing or a reference to go back to should that something like that happen to one of us. You know,
And now we don't have it.
and we don't have it.
So I don't know who ran out of money. I seriously, I have to believe that Zach walked away with a check at some time.
Well, I mean, obviously there was a settlement, and you know, we'll probably never ever know the details of it. But you know, lawsuits are expensive. You know, even though he had $100,000, I'm sure that they chewed through that. And then it's like, okay, well, I got 4 or 5 campaigns that are lingering that I also got to take care of. That's probably going to cost me a shitload of money. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm sure that was a financial choice when it came right down to it. You know.
And you know, probably was on that way on Mark's side as well. He was probably running out of, you know, his war chest wasn't nearly as big as Zach's war chest.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
and-
think Marvel was paying his bills.
Maybe.
But I would love to know. I would love to know from the Dunn's side of things what they experienced, and I know we never will. You might, you know, in casual conversation, but you won't be able to tell us. Obviously, I get that. I respect that. But I have a feeling that it was a lot more than what was just in the tweets about we got this and then we did this.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when I talked to them, it wasn't like, you know, a huge conversation, but I just mentioned to them that, you know, I wasn't CG and, you know, not part of those, you know, really in that circle. I was just letting them know where I stood, you know, because it is a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, they had brought up we were going to publish Jawbreakers at one point in time, but you know what happened with that? And I'm like, yeah, I know what happened with that. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what we're told what happened with that.
Yeah.
oh, sure.
I've got the information that was put out about it.
Yeah. Or the disinformation. We're not quite sure what it was, but we know that something happened. And on that, you know, that's probably a good point to walk out on before we start another 2-hour discussion.
Oh, man, we can go on about all kinds of shit.
Oh yeah.
I like how Max's background just kind of bleeds into the video background.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was looking at it and I was kind of like, am I?
He's
Part of
like
the
he's in this big backdrop here.
Expand your mind, Max.
Oh,
Boom.
I need to get my light kit that somebody else has got. You can see it's getting dark in here.
Yeah.
And I've got my one light on. The sun is down in front of me here, so the curtain's not letting anything in. But I've got a green screen that works great when it's lit up. And at this time, you know, if I started at 7 o'clock here, it's fine. By 7:30, it's twinkly. It's letting things through.
I got a desk lamp for that. I just point the lamp right at the screen and it works.
I got to do that. I've also got a green T-shirt that I wear for just funs and giggles.
So look like you're a floating head.
Yeah, well, it's not like I have this Starfield background. I have a Starfield background on, so it looks like I'm Starboy from the Legion of Superheroes. You know,
I haven't played around with my green screen in a little while because I've been in this not on camera sort of kick. But when I go back on camera, I mean, I'll always be using that green screen. You know.
It's I've got now I can't do the green screen to show you that one. I've got a couple of them though. I use green screens with overlays.
Yeah, me too. I make full use of OBS.
See, now you use OBS, and I could not quite get my head wrapped around everything going on in that one. StreamYard works just fine for me.
If you pay for it, yes.
Yeah, and I am paying for it. So again, another reason we would love to have super chats from y'all. The overlays are nice and fun, but I have this overlay here. Looks like nothing to you guys, right? They're like, what the hell is that crap?
Yeah.
That overlay, again, using PowerPoint, I took a picture and I said, erase everything in the background except that foreground stuff. That is the corner of a laptop and the edge of a desk and a microphone sitting there. And that comes from the background of when Ethan Van Sciver left his office and the camera was still running.
Yeah, I have a background in Ethan's office.
I have the office and the overlay, and the green screen makes it look like I'm sitting right there at his desk.
Yeah, me
like
too.
the computer's in front of me.
Same image, brother.
I just Googled like Ethan Van Sciver chair stream.
Well, I saw it on IndieVolt. They're like, let's check in with Ethan, and they go and they showed like the empty Ethan chair shot, and I'm like, okay, I'm grabbing that picture and I'm using it for my green screen.
Yeah, that's. It's gorgeous.
I mean, what do you think about that, Ethan?
I'm a guest on your stream, dickhead.
That's right.
That's the other thing I got to start doing is figuring out how to get a soundboard working with.
You want to know the secret? I'll show you the secret. You get yourself. Let's see. This camera's gonna fall apart. You get yourself one of these. It's called the Elgato Stream Deck, and it can do more than just play sounds. It can turn on applications. Like there, I got like my Photoshop, my Movie Maker, my Paint, my YouTube, and all that stuff. But mostly, it's like a glorified soundboard.
So it runs everything through your microphone.
Rebel Comics is amazing. Like what?
It runs through my speakers. Yeah. All right. What do you think, Hartman?
Respect my authority.
And so that's what it is.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a toy I might have to get someday.
It's about $150. But like I said, it can do a lot of stuff. It's basically like a glorified macro. You know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah. Like you could program into your function keys but people have forgotten how to do that, including me. But yeah, that's what that F1, F2, F3 were all there for in the first place. You're supposed to be able to code macros into them.
Yep.
And we stopped. All right, guys, this has been fun. I'm excited for both your campaigns, so I can't wait to get my hands on any of them and all of them.
Man, pre-order exciting comics, RJ. You must have a comic shop near you.
Yeah.
Would you believe I don't?
Actually, you ran a video, Cosmic Comics. I'm like, I kind of want to go there.
That's in Belleville, Illinois. That is my LCS guy when I'm in Illinois. I'm in Arkansas right now. I'm here for 2 weeks. Then I go back every other weekend. And then I go on a Friday, come back on a Sunday, and I'm here for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
There is no comic shop near me except one, which is basically a vintage record store with a back wall that has some comics on it. And I don't think they're going to do any special orders. There's a Comic-Con near me, and the webpage has everything about it except how to contact anybody. So I'm like,
that sounds helpful.
Yeah, how do I get a table at this con of yours? I'm a published author and all that good stuff, and would love to cover it for the website. It's not like I'm in Eureka Springs, so we're like miles from. I'm technically in Holiday Island, so I'm on the top of a mountain outside of Eureka Springs.
Oh, you're in Eureka Springs. That's not that. I mean, that's far from me, but I go down there to just to go to the saunas and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get on the bike because a lot of motorcycles come down through here all the time and go across. I'm walking distance from Table Rock Lake and the sidebar that's right there across the wooden bridge. If you've been there,
yeah, we used to go to the Party Cove at Table Rock all the time.
Yeah, I don't know where the Party Cove is. I'm too old to party, Max. But
well, this was long ago.
That's
don't
what
do
you
anymore.
say until we show up.
Yeah, call first, and I will be there. If you tell me you're coming to Eureka Springs, I will be there.
Show up with a case of beer, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's set the date. I'm in. You don't have to tell me twice.
Well, I'll go down to Eureka Springs again sometime soon. We usually go down there once every couple of years.
Cool. Well,
We're
there's
about to.
coming up in November. There's a UFO convention. I can't wait for.
Nice.
That's one of the, we do all this interviewing stuff, and I've done these little side interviews where like once every 2 months I'll interview somebody from the UFO community, and we get a totally different crowd for that. And then I found out that I was looking at the Google Analytics of my YouTube. I'm like, I don't understand this stuff, but I see a peak happening like every 2 weeks. What am I doing then? Lego build streams.
I'll say this, man.
Lego build streams. People
Yeah.
are watching those.
Yeah.
I'll say this, man. We were last minute entries in for tonight. And we appreciate you, having us on your show and sharing your time with us, man.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
the appreciation is all from me, guys, because if without you guys showing up, without the folks in the chat showing up, it's just me talking into a microphone, and that just sucks. And
Sounds like what I'm going to be doing later.
There's not a show without the guests. There's not a show without the chat. So my thanks to everybody here tonight. Appreciate you bringing your projects on board. Folks in the chat, as always, we appreciate you being here. I won't tell you to hit the like, because if you don't like it, I can't make you. I would ask you to hit the share so that NYOBI and Mary Machine Gun can be put in front of more eyeballs. Your social circles are not my social circles, so help spread the word that way.
Get some,
And
get
as
some
always,
eyeballs on there.
yes, and as always, we just hope you